and go. Trent with it. Trent, 2 seconds. Trent drills it for the win. Gary Trent Jr. delivers the W for the Raptors at the buzzer.
Welcome to Toronto. How about that shot? They're doubling the ball every time it goes down in the low box.
Trent, oh, he's explosive. He is a very explosive young man.
Sliding cross court. Trent bears down right to the cup for the right hand slam.
The hops from JT Jr. Otter, the halo. Rod.
Trent, 40-37 Portland.
Damian off the screen, goes behind the back, switching directions and finds Trent again. Locked in.
Put him away.
Minor percentages drop, but Doug, no drop off that time. And here's a guy that's playing great basketball.
Yeah, you know, whether it was from pictures or tape, you know, the way I would describe my father's hoop game would have to be, you know, a bruiser, an enforcer, a tough guy. He had a decent little mid-range here and there. He could finish above the rim, could jump, you know, with some of the best of them.
Touch pass underneath Trent, two-hand jam. Nicely done.
He liked to claim he had a little jumper at the three, but, you know, I seen a little bit in college, you know, when he had the freedom. Then when he got to the league, you know, he was restricted to what he was supposed to do. So he had a decent three-pointer, nothing crazy. We're not going to overreach there. But, you know, just a overall hard worker, competitor, a fighter. You know, those are just some of the words that, you know, I could describe his game from what he's told me, what I've seen, you know.
Trying to get through a lot of traffic. Gives it off to Trent with the tomahawk jam.
Into the post, Trent with a nice move on Cam. That's a big-time power move.
Welcome inside the Sky Dome in Toronto. It has been a crazy week in Toronto, but easily the most important in the young history of this franchise. The Raptors changing ownership on Thursday. The Toronto Maple Leafs buying the Raptors and then the building as well. So the two teams will play in Air Canada Centre beginning in 1999. Then Friday, the blockbuster deal we had been waiting for. Damon Stoudemire dealt to the Portland Trail Blazers, and then the resignation of head coach Darrell Walker, Butch Carter taking over. The trade itself, Stoudemire to his hometown of Portland, along with Carlos Rogers and Walt Williams, in exchange for Kenny Anderson, who still hasn't reported, Gary Trent, Alvin Williams, first-round draft picks, and cash.
At the time, they were just getting a new owner. They were so, you know, the situation that he came into was literally like from ground zero, trying to start and build it up.
You know the expression, like father, like son? So you hit it right on, but how about this? Gary Trent Jr. traded from Portland to Toronto 41 games into his third season. Gary Trent Sr., it was 98, traded from Portland to Toronto, 41 games into his third season. So 23 years later, Jr. follows in Senior's footsteps. He actually said his dad was the one who first alerted him to it. He says it almost seems like it was written already, like it was destined. It was supposed to happen.
You know, it's crazy, everything is coming full circle. And you know, now I'm here, so it's almost as it's meant to be.
It's been a whirlwind last 24 hours for Gary Trent Jr. He said yesterday he was napping, getting set for the Blazers' next game. Suddenly he got the call from his agent, found out he was going to be traded. He eventually made his way to Tampa, got in at about 11:30, 11:45, got in a workout around midnight, and then hit the ground running this morning. And one of the biggest things he's looking forward to about joining this team, aside from obviously just on the floor, it's what this organization represents, a championship organization that has cultivated such good players over the last X number of years and built that championship mentality. And he's looking forward to being part of that this year and beyond.
Gary Trent Jr. wears number 33, the same number his father wore as a Toronto Raptor for his brief stint in TO. And the Toronto Raptors open up with possession of the basketball and Gary Trent Jr. underneath. His father played 13 games with the Raptors.
I remember when he came in with Alvin Williams. I mean, Alvin Williams became a key piece for the Toronto Raptors and an important part of the Raptors' history. but Gary Trent Sr. was a tough dude, boy.
Brown, good look for Trent, who deposits 2, as only Gary Trent can.
Kyle Lowry, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 9 dimes against the Nuggets as Gary Trent Jr. knocks it down. Just 22 years of age in his 3rd year.
Hey, Matty, look at his numbers. They've gone up each season, averaging 15 points a game this season, but he's on a tremendous trajectory.
He's a great teammate. He's a great teammate. He's a guy you're going to want to go to war with. You know, he plays hard. He's tough. You know, he doesn't bag down. And he's goofy. You know, he's still a young kid. You know, he's some people don't know. I mean, he's, 21, 22 years old. He got a lot of life in him. You know, he's very loud personality. He thinks he can dress, but he a great dude, man. He a great dude, got a bright future.
And there is Rodney Hood, the veteran, 6'8", in his 7th season, 28 years of age. And an Achilles injury coming back from that, played in just 21 games a season ago. Trent backing in on Paul, rising up, and nice. Jumper is good for Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I mean, obviously it's difficult to come in and fly in a night and join a team and play against one of the best teams in the league.
And unfortunately for the Toronto Raptors, they're unable to win their 2nd consecutive game as they fall to the Phoenix Suns 104-100.
The night before the trade deadline, Norman Powell said, "My roots are here," meaning Toronto, and tonight he has to make that walk that so many pro athletes have to, the strange one, to play against his former team.
All right, Norm, so you get traded. You don't even have to leave your home or the Florida area, and then 3 days later you're playing your former squad. Is this as weird as it all seems? Because it's strange. You haven't even had a chance to miss anyone yet.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I feel like, once trades go down, you fly to that team city and, you kind of leave everything else behind. But just the way Portland's road trip was set up, it was just kind of like perfect. I guess for the transition, it was really easy, just drive down to Orlando, get everything situated and cleared, and get a first game out the way, and then be able to drive back in. It's still weird for me because, I'm still in my house, driving the same routes and things to the hotel, to the arena, so it doesn't really feel like a big adjustment, but I'm sure after, I leave Tampa and everything like that, then it'll definitely hit me a little more. I'm just so grateful and thankful for the opportunity. When I first was coming into the league, there were so many questions and doubters and critics saying that I wasn't going to be able to play at this level, and I'm just thankful that, the Raptors saw something in me and took a chance on me. And a kid from San Diego that many people didn't think would be able to do anything in this league, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, all the memories, all the connections that I made within the organization, within the fans and friends in Toronto. I'm going to hold on and cherish those memories forever.
When you think about the trade involving Norman Powell, Rodney Hood comes back, a veteran in his 8th season, and also Gary Trent Jr. in his 3rd year. What did you see out of the 2nd-round pick from Duke?
Well, you know what? I really like Gary Trent Jr. First of all, I love a two-way player that plays with toughness and intensity.
I liked it. When you get into a situation when you're amongst new players, an emotional transition from being traded, having that uncertainty once again, he came in, he was ready to play, shots was going in, got opportunities, still played tenacious defense, and he just played with heart. So he's going to get more of a rhythm. He's going to continue to play. And he's in a different situation today, starting in place of Kyle Lowry. So now there's another element. So we'll see how he responds, and I'm sure he's up for the task.
And Trent Jr. now eases into the front court, makes a move, using the screen, and a pull-up is good.
And here's a young man whose numbers have gotten better every year he's been in the league, and another guy to create off the dribble. Norm with the quick response. And
here's Hood.
Kyle Lowry.
Yep. Here's Hood spinning, and he gets the roll. 3-point attempt good by Trent. Clock down. Fred. Rodney Hood lets it fly. Bucket in.
Man, he can be big for us, giving us that spark. That's big on any good team, having a guy that can get you 10, 15, 20 on every given night. Rodney's been one of the better spark plugs, in the league over the course of his career. Hopefully we can look to get him in spots and have him have success. Both of those guys were fired up to play their old team as they should be.
OG on a handoff for Trent and a turnover. It's Powell, and Powell gives Portland a 1-point lead as he looks back at the Raptor bench. Pascal using the screen and coming in and denied from behind by Jones. C.J. McCollum, stutter step move, and the and one. Well, that's going to do it. Portland takes it 122-117. Raptors have lost 13 of 15 as they lose a tough one to the Trailblazers in the embrace with Norman Powell, and we certainly wish Norman all of the best throughout the course of this season, and then of course in the offseason. And Gary Trent Jr. meeting up as well, Leo, with his former teammates.
And a lot of Raptor fans at home are wishing Norm all the best. He's going to have a very successful close to this season.
Raptors fall to Norman Powell and the Portland Trailblazers by 5. And Damian Lillard embracing Gary Trent Jr. And the Toronto Raptors will now jump on a plane and head to the Motor City.
Too easy for Corey Joseph.
And a timeout taken by Nick Nurse. And a tough night. And a puzzling look. And the Toronto Raptors fall to the Pistons. And that's going to do it for this night in the Motor City. Corey Joseph comes away with the victory against his former team.
Yeah, I've had some losing stretches in college, my first 2 years, but it's just tough. You gotta keep going. You can't change too much. Everything is worse when you're losing. So the smallest thing becomes more of a big deal. But just trying to stick to what we know, and eventually just trust that it's going to flip the other way around.
Welcome everyone to Oklahoma City, where tonight the Toronto Raptors are in town getting set to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
The Raptors have gone through a bit of a metamorphosis with their team. Again, no Norman Powell anymore. They got Rodney Hood and they have Gary Trent Jr. And Gary Trent Jr. has made an impact here.
And I like his game. He's obviously a young player who's got a bright future, and his potential is only going to continue to climb.
Pascal. And here's Gary Trent Jr. with it, the clock down. And what a great move as he fires it over Mihailuk.
Yeah, I mean, they're two good players. I think we're still finding how everybody can fit in. It's only been, I think, 2 or 3 games that we've all played together, so it might take a little bit of time, but they're definitely good players. Watching them, they both make shots and can get hot, so I think they'll be good additions for us.
Trent pulls up, elbow J. He's got a new career high, 31.
And Kenny Anderson trying to get through a lot of traffic. Gives it off to Trent with the tomahawk jam. It's more.
Into the post for Trent with a nice move on Cannon. That's a big-time power move. You can see Gary Trent never straightened up on the fake.
Back feeds Trent for the dunk. Gary Trent has 8 in his return.
He's meant everything to me. One thing about my dad, I say this all the time, it's crazy. He was a big man, but he was able to produce his player development with guard skills, Everything that he couldn't do, he wanted to make sure that I could do on the court, whether it's dribbling, shooting, passing. We worked on all types of things, Like I said, the first year, we did nothing but ball handling. I was about 5 years old. He just took me to a track. We did dribbling around almost a mile's worth. At every 100 meters, we did 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. So, It was just that, you know, we got to it at the age of 5. You know, he used to motivate me by showing me videos. He used to watch Floyd Mayweather's 24/7s all the time before his fights, you know, just to see the level of training you need to be at if you want to be successful. You know, if you see the way, how detailed, you know, Floyd Mayweather is with his training, how serious he takes his craft, you know, it's little things like that, you know, just always trying to show me, always trying to put me on game, always trying to make sure, you know, I got the knowledge that I need, you know, so everything, really, everything, every move, every jump shot, every step back, every pass, anything I do is from him. You know, I haven't really trained with nobody else my whole life, you know, besides coaches here and there on teams, but, you know, the base of my game and who my game is and where I get my game from, it's all from my father. Nobody else is working me.
Gary Trent Jr., Sherm, just 22 years old, and maybe the Raptors possibly have found a part of their future in that trade for Norman Powell.
Well, he does a lot of good things when you think about how he plays the game. He shoots the ball from the three-point line very well. He can put the ball on the floor and attack off the dribble. He's got the mid-range game, that old-school look that I know Alvin likes, but he had a great game against OKC with 31 points, a career high.
Man, this opportunity is second to none. It's a blessing. You know, the last few years, my situation, you know, I'm playing with amazing players, future Hall of Fame players, as in Carmelo Anthony, Damian Lillard, you know, CJ McCollum. So, you know, my time and what I could do and what I could showcase was very limited, you know, due to just the circumstances I'm in, you know. So I sat back, you know, I worked. I stayed in my role, I played hard, and, you know, now I'm fortunate and blessed to have an opportunity, like you said, I can spread my wings a little bit, you know, I can showcase that I can dribble off the ball and score off the ball, I can showcase, I can pass and, you know, find guys, you know, so just being able to play, it's completely different, it's completely 360, I'm in a completely different mind space, and having the ability to just play, you know, man, it's a great feeling. I can't even explain it. You know, for the first time in my career in the last 3 years, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm wanted in a sense. They want me to be a part of something. They want me to help. So, you know, I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you.
Gary Trent Jr. coming off of a career-high 31.
And if he gets going from 3, you got a problem. How about this guy? He's just on fire.
Trent with the three-pointer. And Pascal has it denied by Siakam. Trent now into the front court, attacking. The layup is good.
I think you can expect from me, no matter what, in the playoff race, not in the playoff, every game I'm going to go hard, you know, 110%, and treat it as if we in the playoff game. You know, that's the goal. Not to take, you know, no breaks, no time off. You know, just stay with it. If we keep pushing, you know, keep edging, we keep working hard, we keep locking in, listen to Coach Nurse and our coaching staff, you know, trusting them, believe what they tell us to do. The type of players that we have in this locker room, we should have no issues, you know, getting to what we want to do. And obviously that's the playoffs. So, you know, and besides the playoffs, you know, get to the playoffs, and, you know, this is a championship organization. So the goal is to win a championship, not to just get to the playoffs. But, you know, obviously you have to get there first.
Unable to knock it down. Trent Jr. does. Drills it. Mannion, his pass. Picked off by Boucher. Numbers. Pascal, the three. Good. Pascal Siakam on his birthday. Firing away.
And the Raptors haven't relaxed defensively. It's impressive.
Oh, gee. Anunoby with the three. 99-49.
Wow, we haven't seen this in a long time.
50-point lead for the Raptors. Raptors putting up 130. And Gary Trent Jr. at plus 54, second best in NBA history. Flynn comes away with it, and that's going to do it. Raptors are going to come away with a victory, and that ends their 4-game slide, 130-77, the largest margin of victory in team history after a very trying month of March. Raptors begin April with a W on Pascal's birthday.
birthday, birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
There he is.
Give me 2 steps. Give me 2 steps. Give me 2 steps. Give me 2 steps.